Thank you. Okay, Ray, now you can start the meeting.
So we were supposed to swear in Lisa Miller.
Yep.
It's not happening?
Lisa is out with a back injury, so we'll have to wait on that.
Okay.
We
So-
just did the paid invoices.
Yep, just did the pay invoices approved by the Board of Trustees and stuff. About the update on the AR outstanding,
Yep.
you get something on that?
You got it right there. As of 4/11,
Yeah?
that's the account receivable balance that people owe.
Ray, speak
So
up.
they owe like $62,927.52.
Yep. And that includes the liens that we have on outstanding.
So on the liens, you got what, 69 total?
Yep. For that amount of money.
27,887.72.
Yep. And that includes 30-day demands that I had just done at around that same time. No, I didn't put this down. I mailed out 2 foreclosure notices for the quarter 2 2022 liens that are due May 15th, 2024. And those total $1,036.70. They usually pay within a day before it's due. So,
I think somebody had a question out there. What?
I was curious if you could repeat the amount of liens. I couldn't hear it.
we have the total liens,
Yeah.
69 liens, well, 39 liens, wait a minute, 39 liens outstanding, and I just mailed out 30-day demand letters.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's 39 liens, so that's 69 customers past due,
Yes,
out of how many total customers?
maybe 200.
Anything else you got to say on that?
Nope,
That's it?
I'm good with that.
So we update on TIF plan?
Yeah.
And make the debt service. Have not heard anything back from the lawyers. Weren't they supposed to get together, both lawyers?
Yeah, but we also got invited to the Selectmen's meeting. You want to update them on that?
All right.
We were at the
What?
Selectmen's meeting last week,
Yeah.
and what did they talk about with the TIF? With debt
I don't
service?
think they really, both lawyers are gonna get together or something.
Which, I don't know if they've done that or not yet.
Right.
I typed up the Selectmen's meeting regarding TIF, so I'll put it up on the website.
The recording of the meeting is posted too, that the town recorded, and it's at about the 12-minute mark, they talk about the TIF.
Yeah, that's where I got it from, yeah. If the TIF funds could be allocated towards the sanitary district as long as the payment of the sewer district's debt was in the reimbursement for the cost, which are authorized under the TIF, then we can reimburse it. So we might get a percentage toward debt service.
What does that mean?
Okay, the example that the attorney said was if you have $10 million of debt taken out, and there's $100,000 worth of debt services, which is related to the $10 million taken out. $4 million of it was used on the projects within the district or otherwise authorized to be funded by the TIF revenues. And the $6 million was used elsewhere for other projects. So TIF, in this example, with the $4 million, TIF revenues can be used to pay up to $40,000 or 40% of the debt service expenses. So it's possible we can use the TIF for debt service?
So would that
It's a
then-
percentage or something, so they have
Yeah.
a formula, it was hard to kind of follow that.
It sounds like maximum would be 40%. It wouldn't be the whole 3 million, would it?
No, it would be, I'm not sure.
Do you think they're saying, they're using an example that isn't really related to this? That they're saying that you didn't use all this money for this project that you're financing? It sounds like that's what they're saying. If you only used 40% of the financing towards the eligible project, you would only get 40%. But that doesn't make any sense. So I didn't hear it. I'm just kind of trying to make sense of what you just read.
They also wanted to know how long the pipeline was that got installed and where was it in Vassalboro that it got installed at. So I was going by the TIP payments that we paid and printing off invoices and all that stuff. And then I got smart and I went down to the sewer district and I got the maps of the whole construction. So the town now has one copy of those maps. The one that's on the office desk is still there in case you need it for something.
Are you talking about the plans?
Yes,
Okay.
and I'll pick up those other ones Monday and get them back down to the sewer district, but I figured that was the best way for them to find out where the pipe was installed,
Why do you think they're asking for that?
to determine,
How much the town it actually impacted?
yeah.
What was it, like 7.5 miles or something?
6.25 miles. Well, 6 1/4, something like that. But that's going to Winslow. And Chris French had said, I need the pipe within Vassalboro. However, with our intermunicipal agreement with Winslow, we are responsible for that pipe that goes to Winslow to the Dunbar Road. So I'm not exactly sure what the town's going to do as far as the 2.5 miles or whatever it is to Winslow.
But it sounds like maybe that's why they're thinking they're going to use a percentage, because they're trying to make a case that they don't have to cover anything that isn't in Vassalboro.
Well, if we're responsible for
But it's
it.
Vassalboro line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't know, I'm just
I don't either.
guessing. We don't have anybody from town here. But, I think it probably is an encouraging thing that they're saying that it can be used for debt service.
Yeah,
Because I thought that was what you had been told at one time, was that it couldn't even be
Yeah.
used for that purpose.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Been going back and forth for a long time.
yeah. So back in 2019, I believe, we received $100,000 from the TIF fund to set up new customers. We could not do it at the time because Vassalboro could not be on private property to do this. So we have had this money, we haven't spent the money, we still have it. And in going back through the meetings, back in 2020, John Melrose, no, not John Melrose, Titus, what's it? Lachlan Titus. Lachlan Titus changed his answer from hooking up new customers to using this money for debt service. This $100,000 for debt service. However, so the town wants his $100,000 back, wants me to send them a check. And then they'll turn around and send us a percentage, I believe, of that check. This is how I'm taking it. Now, I could be wrong. So I'm just kind of waiting.
And they have to tell you what we gotta use it for, right? they're gonna change the use of it or something. like
Right,
that.
change the use of it, yeah.
So we're only gonna get a percentage of it back, not what we gave them.
Right.
And I think they have to spell it out what it's gonna be used for.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? When you say it's used for debt services, how does that affect the customers as far as their bills? Does it delay the potential increase, or, I mean, what is it?
I
How
hope
does
so.
that equate to the statements that go out?
I hope it will definitely help. I mean, we haven't closed on one loan yet, but it's gonna be $125,000 a year for the next 30 to 40 years.
Yeah, what you have to do is look at the annual budget, and you can see what the debt payment is. So that's what she's talking about.
Okay.
If you figure the percentage of the debt payment of the total budget, then that's how much it should affect the user fee.
So hopefully it's good news. So anyway, I'll post this on I'll put this on our website so you can read it. Okay? And go from there.
All right, we can just do that. Because this is what we just did that.
Yeah. The signatures that Tara and Megan have been getting,
Mhm.
the
Petition.
petition, yes, the lawyer gave us a couple of different scenarios that we could vote on for the town for this petition.
So they're here.
They're right there, but if we're gonna be getting a certain percentage from debt service, I just don't know if that's gonna do anything. Basically, the lawyer had given us two different scenarios. One was to appropriate the total sum for debt service, and the other was to raise maybe half of it for debt service, so we'd still have to pay the other half.
So the total sum is $129,491.32.
Right.
And if the town raise appropriate half, it's $64,745.76.
Right. But with us being able to use a certain percentage of debt service, I don't know if this is something that, I just don't know what the town's gonna do.
And right now, like I said earlier, they're just using what I have so far. It wasn't specific enough. I had to actually ask them to make it something that the entire town was expected to pay for or divvy up amongst themselves. And then every single page at the top had to say, so I was able to put it in the correct format. Like I said earlier, we're about 40-ish signatures away from the 219 that I needed to put in front of the select board.
Yeah.
What is the deadline?
Well, they were bringing it up tonight at their board meeting, so they're going to use the document as a protest only, so it will go nowhere. There's nothing to vote on as of right yet. I asked Aaron French, is that correct? I asked him if, Miller, excuse me, if we were able to continue to get those signatures and bring it by so he could peruse it.
Did he give you a date that you could do that? No, hang on a minute. In regards to any increases, I also found an article online about Winslow with the Chappie Brook project that they have. that they're gonna be adding $1 million to the Chaffey Brook budget due to permits and labor shortages, which means they could be having another price increase. So your question about increasing prices, if this happens, I'm gonna say yes, we're gonna have a price increase. How much? I have no idea. I mean, these prices are astronomical now.
Well, I mean, almost half the town is just about on liens, right? I mean, half of the people on the line. We got, if the 30-day notice folks don't pay, it's 70 out of less than 200.
Yeah, but a lot of these liens that I've done, I lien quarterly, so it's the same people that I'm liening. So even though I have that many liens out there, it doesn't mean I have that many customers. Like we have, for the quarter 3, 2023 liens, I only have 14 outstanding liens.
Okay, that's a better number.
Okay. For the quarter 4, 2023 liens, I have 30 customers that I've liened. So, and once I lien, of course, we can't touch it for another 18 months. So,
And I think it's the generosity of putting us on hold with the increase, that 50% increase is why we don't have any more though.
yeah. But as I said, I don't know, may not have a choice. May not be 50%, but we may not have a choice, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have better news maybe next month. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, other discussions, the Morning Sentinel dated back, they did an article 47/82, and back then, regarding having the town to help out with the debt. And that was only in 81 when they put the collection system in and things started operating in 1 year. They were at the town office knocking on their door to get help. So this has been ongoing for a long time, sure.
Yeah.
And that one, you just covered it, so we'll slow down.
Well, most likely the reason the district was formed in the first place was because the town didn't want to be responsible for the project. And that's why these districts get set up. In other places, it's the town government that operates the treatment facilities.
Okay. I'll do this one next.
We're gonna do one more, hang on. You have to make an appointment, Raymond, with the town manager so that we can talk about the intermunicipal agreement and possibly changing that base fee. For Winslow.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we can get that set up.
Right. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
Megan's out of the country, but I agreed to bring some of the questions she kindly put together. She was looking for the TIF update, are we being allocated funds, if not why? May we request them again, or is there an appeal process, but that's to be determined at this time is what I'm hearing. She was wondering if there was ever an update on the calibration.
That's gonna happen April 22nd?
And, oh my gosh, sorry Megan. Next quarter, has there been any discussion or about the rate increase, or will you folks be able to continue to pause it for us?
I like to say yes, but I don't know. I really don't know.
How will you make that decision?
I have my audit coming up hopefully next week. I'm gonna talk to my auditor, see if he can give me some ideas.
Okay.
Where they're really good with numbers.
And we won't find out about the congressional 2025 funding till when?
Richard?
Well, I was correct last month that the applications had not come out. But in the meantime, they have been, and they are due on next week, on the 24th. It's something that I will be doing online. And the only thing that I need from the district is that we need a minimum of 3 letters of recommendation for the project.
So
And we
you folks
need-
wrote one?
Pardon me?
You wrote one?
Richard wrote one for us, which we
Well, I wrote a form letter, and if worse came to worse, we could have 3 of the same letter signed by different entities. But what I was suggesting was that you try to get one coming from the district board, and one coming from the town manager, and I assume the town is willing to do that. And then you had contacted the state rep, Bradshaw, is that?
Mr. Bradstreet, and I also contacted Senator, no,
Julio?
Pouillot.
Julio.
So they said that they would write us a letter also. The town has given us 2 letters.
But the correspondence that I've had from Susan Collins' office said that it would be really good to have a letter from a citizen that's affected by the project. So,
I just wrote one today.
so if you could write a letter,
It's already done. I took care of it this afternoon.
is that what you just gave Becky?
Yep.
I wrote it on behalf of the 200 that were impacted.
Okay, so I haven't actually started filling out the form, but I have done one for another project which was much more complicated than this, so I'm sure I can do it. Even though I'll be working on it this weekend, I will get that in. And I really want to make sure I get those letters so that I can attach those.
Yep.
The other issue is we're just concerned about the lack of having a grant writer for the town. I think it's called KVOC. What was that stand for? Kennebec Valley.
KB Cog.
Thank you, COG. And then Megan was just wondering if we should consider hiring them for the sanitary district, at least for like a period of 2 years, to see if we can sort of offset some of these costs and if they might be able to offer anything up to us.
My understanding from when Mary was here was only municipalities can do that, not quasi-municipal. That was my understanding.
So we don't have access to grant writing.
KB Cog did do some work for the district when this project was in the planning stages. So they did an income survey, and I don't know if they did that officially. Gail Chase was involved. She's not there anymore, but she personally did it, and it was billed out to the district from KB Cog, so it was formal in that regard. There was a contract and everything, but I don't think went through the town because I don't think the town was a member even then. So it's certainly worth asking the question at least. But the bigger question that I have is where would you go for grants for a project that's already been built?
Right. I don't know if she was meaning like any possible future like costs associated with that. I feel like anything at this point is like damage to the line or it's just going to continue to add up. So maybe she was referring to like future costs.
What we're going to ask for this CDS grant is to fund, it's an 80% grant as I understand it, so there's still a local share, but the local share can be funded through the DEP loan that's still open. And we want to fund these improvements to the pump stations that should help reduce the operating costs substantially. And we also have, the Department of Transportation has directed the district to pay for having the manholes in the street where they're paving altered. And that is adding up to, what is that, about $60,000 or something like that?
Yeah, 50 to 60,000, yeah.
So somebody's going to pay for that too. And if we can get it funded under the grant, that would be great. The alternative, I guess, is to fund it under the TIF, but it sounds like the town isn't really very motivated to be making any money available to the district.
But we also have, there's two projects that the state has. One of them is the manholes, and the other one is putting that new culvert in by the Lombard Dam Road. Two for the insulation or whatever.
Yeah, well, that was about $800. So that was insignificant, but that's part of the manhole project. It's going to be, I don't know if it's a standalone contract, but I think that it's part of the manhole project that they're going to be doing along that stretch.
But we have two contracts that I just signed, or Raymond just signed. One's for $18,000 and the other's for 20-something thousand, which comes up to close to $50,000.
Right, those are the two projects.
Right.
So one of them has just manholes in it, and that's one contract. The other one has other manholes and the insulation.
Okay.
And forgive me, I don't know what this means, road culvert project, status update, is that what you were just speaking to?
I don't know. I guess
She's talking about?
I guess in general, that is what we're talking about.
I think that's why she was asking about the grant writer, to see if we had the future costs, if what was slated as far as like future funding and making sure we had funds prior to the beginning.
Right. Well, I know in looking at Colin's office information on past grants, they've had a lot of money that they've made available to sewer districts and towns for sewer projects. But you know how things are now. So whether there's money flowing or not, I don't know. But I think the good thing is that there's certainly a big need, and it's not a whole lot of money in the scheme of things.
And the RCAP report, Becky, we couldn't find on the site. We're not sure if we just missed it somewhere. We were just looking for those recommendations that representative from RCAP provided as far as making it a community issue.
I forgot to put them up there, but I will.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sorry.
And then she had said one more. It sounds like we're continuing to have conversations with Winslow about you're going to have a meeting with the town manager about renegotiating the rates. And do we know who the point person is for Winslow? Is it Ella?
I don't know what.
We're assuming that that's the
Town.
town manager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we did the original agreement, it was the town manager that we were
Mike.
meeting with. Yeah, the old town manager.
Yeah, Mike.
Although we did have to go through their
Council.
the town council to get the changes actually implemented.
And that's
You got
really,
any more on your list? Other than this?
no, that's all I have.
So Richard, you have an update on the, and then PS installed the new pumps?
Well, last month they told me that they were almost ready, and this month they told me they're almost ready. I did ask them to make a change. The way it had been set up in the bids was that we were going to take out the grinder at the North Main pump station if we didn't have enough money. And then I decided, well, it would be better if we try to work it so that if there's not enough money, we don't do the work over at the Willow Street pump station and take that out of the contract instead and do everything we can to keep the grinder in, because that's where the real problem is with that pump station. So they did have to make some changes to do that. But I did have a couple of email exchanges with Hoyle Tanner today, so I think that's pretty much ready. And I understand that we don't actually have to advertise for bid, but I don't know for sure if that's true. I think we can just get prices.
So if we put the grinder and the pumps in the North Main, we still need a new generator?
Yes. The reason that we need the generator is for the grinder. So if we were going to take the grinder out, we wouldn't need the generator.
Am I gonna need the generator the size of what's at South Main Street or East Vassalboro?
Well, it's going to be bigger than the one that's there. I don't know whether it's as big as the ones down there, but they don't look much different, do they? From the outside.
No, I think price-wise they were though.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty significant cost.
Right. Okay.
So the generator they pull out, have plans of that?
I don't have any plans. We talked about maybe putting it in next to the garage so that we can get the doors open when the power goes out and get the backup generator out of there. Or we could try to put it in at one of the pump stations that doesn't have a generator now.
Which would
I
be
know
one
the
pump
town-
station.
It would be either Oak Grove, China Lake, or South Stanley. Those are the three that don't have generators.
I thought the town was probably looking at putting a generator by the office. I'm not sure if I dreamed that up or if I heard someone say that. So maybe selling it to the town to help pay the cost of the bigger one.
I was gonna suggest selling it and then using the money for whatever else we may need it for.
Because I don't know if their maintenance garage has a generator. You know, it's town office, don't, the fire departments do.
Yeah, you could sell it. It's probably worth a few $1,000s. I doubt that it's worth a lot.
The big one.
But it's a good brand. It's not like a cheap generator.
And it gets maintained every year. We have a contract for them to go out and maintain it, all those generators,
Yeah, it's not that old.
so.
So the water flow meters calibration scheduled for April 22nd.
Yes, I sent them an email, Becky saw it, asking them what time they were going to be here, and they didn't tell me. They said, we'll call you, so I don't know what that means, if they're going to call me when they're here and expect me to be there instantly, but that's not going to happen. So I'll send them another one tomorrow and say, well, I need a little bit of lead time. I'm planning to be there. But, they basically did confirm they're coming on Monday.
May I ask one last question? Did the town get a copy of that RCAP report as far as spreading the debt amongst the entire town?
I don't remember, I'm gonna say probably not. She said it to me, I probably didn't send it to her.
Is that something that either sending it to him or Ray when you meet with them, that we could try to see if they can also help? Me and Meg are out there floundering with this petition, so I didn't know if that RCAP report would help get anything on the table with the select board.
I know there was a question. Aaron had reached out because he wanted to know how long these loans were and how long that it was going to be affecting the whole community.
Yeah,
I'll check, I'll check.
I think a question, well, I was going to say, I haven't seen the report either. I wouldn't mind getting a copy of it, taking a look at it. With regard to how long an impact the loans are going to have, the loans are going to run out about the time you're going to need to do an upgrade anyway. This equipment is going to wear out eventually, and you're going to have to replace it. But it shouldn't be anything like the loans you had to get to put that pipeline in, with the pipeline and so forth, which is the expensive part, is going to be good, but the pumps and so forth will need to all be replaced.
They'll go 30, 40 years, those pumps?
Well, they usually figure they're good for 20 years. but I think you made the old ones go for 40 years.
Let's go for 40 so I can be dead by then. Not have to deal with this again.
All right, I'll check tomorrow and find out and get this stuff up
Would be great, thank you.
online for you. I'm sorry.
No, I think the bigger issue is just making sure the town manager has it in the select board, so they, we're also putting some of this onus onto them and seeing what, they helped advocate that person, and so, advocate by bringing her in, and so if that was her recommendation, now what are we going to do with it as a town?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you might want to ask the town about in terms of TIF money, it probably is not anything they are interested in doing, but if you could put TIF money into a reserve account, then when the time comes to make replacements and upgrades, you'd have a little bit of money.
God, Chris had mentioned in that meeting about, hang on. Where is it? Chris is not against using TIF fund to try to bail out the ratepayers in the debt service this year. However, he wants to know what the end goal is. Because the TIF fund is not a suitable method to do this every year because it keeps going down every year. So, he feels that they need to come up with a long-term solution to help that area. Chris is in favor of creating a new TIF zone in that area with affordable housing, which is something that has come out recently with the state to promote housing. So maybe the town can work on something like that to help us.
I guess that's confusing to me that they, again, didn't look at having a professional grant writer come in, and it seems like pennies on the dollars for something that could be very rewarding to all of us.
Mm-hmm. The town also wants to know, Lori commented on how some of the other communities have helped to pick up some of that cost, and the town would like to know what towns or counties have done that, and if they could give, if she could get some information for them, and whether they're in state or out of state. But I haven't heard anything back as far as that goes. So.
Are you talking about what towns in Maine have put money towards sewer debt service? Or?
Yes, yep.
Yeah, other than anecdotal, what we may have that sort of information, but that's kind of town business. I don't know if it's readily available information.
She had some information on that, I believe. So there was a town that was very similar to ours that they were able to help out, but I'm not sure how they problem solved it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we can find one or two examples, but I'm just thinking if we're looking for a significant, or like a breakdown of what towns do it, what towns don't, I don't know if that's going to be very easy to obtain.
And I just saw something in the paper, well, it was after all this started with our town. Gardner's was having a problem that you probably saw in the newspaper, but they spread it out amongst a couple of thousand people versus 200, so their rate that they were screaming about was significantly less than ours.
But isn't there sewer in with the town?
they had to do restructuring like we did and updating, and it was costing a lot of money, but it spread out amongst a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah, and I believe Gardner puts money indirectly into the sewer system.
You mean
Not-
town?
They don't pay directly for the wastewater program. The wastewater, it's a town or a city wastewater department, but they also have storm drains and structures that serve both purposes that they put money into from the city point of view. And I think Winslow does the same thing.
So probably the last thing is this, we haven't done that yet, or do?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so Rich, you got an update on the budget, on the pay rep with PM 43?
Have you updated the pay rep, have you gone in and updated the pay reps with what we sent the town of Vassalboro?
No, because I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know that, we did that update and you sent me all the stuff because there was a couple things that weren't included in it?
I remember that I sent you something that had added in some debt service and things for a summary of what had been spent on TIF.
Yeah, that's not included in the pay reps. So, and I still have that, so if I send that back to you, can you get those updated for me?
I'm not going to do that. That will take days, and there's no reason to do it. Your pay recs are just to claim funding from the funding agency, and that's all they include. If we start to try to add all this stuff into there, that's going to take a long time, and it's going to be, in the end, much more confusing. So I guess I shouldn't say I won't do it, but I don't recommend that you do it, because I just don't see a benefit. It's not cost effective.
Well, if we have stuff in there, if we're using funds, or not using the funds, and it's not in the report, I'm thinking for future reference for the next Board of Trustees that come in, that they'll be able to see what we've done, what's been spent, and by looking at these pay recs, I don't think it's totally correct.
Well, I think it's correct in terms of what you are doing with the funding agencies, but you're right, the TIF amounts changed over time. And we don't really have any good way to go back in time and figure out what specific invoices ended up being paid through TIF. We basically have an overall budget, and these are the sources of funding, and this is what got paid out. But I think at certain times TIF money got used to pay certain invoices, and then we were able to put them in for other funding and get TIF money back out of it, and it kind of, it's just a hard thing to, these things have been a little fluid since the beginning of the project in terms of what specifically got paid out of what. So at the time that this was all set up, we were using the data available at the time. And now we've added in some other TIF money that I just found out about into the budget, but I don't think I can go back through and assign that to individual invoices.
Okay. Okay.
One of mine, Rich, you got anything else?
No.
Anybody got any other
I don't
questions?
believe it.
Questions out?
You're tired.
What?
You don't want to stay and visit, Raymond?
What?
You don't want to stay and visit, Raymond?
No.
That's all I have.
Any questions? No? Richard, anything?
Thank you for your continued efforts.
Just Are you looking for me to do something?
No, we're just asking, do you have any more comments or anything to make?
No,
or
I'm
you all
still,
set?
I'm still asking about what we just talked about. Have I done enough squirming and complaining about it to convince you that we shouldn't do it? I know the town is asking you for more and more information every day, just for whatever reason, they seem to be just wanting to make it as difficult as possible. I shouldn't say that, but that's the way it looks to me, is it's just a tactic to kind of delay making a decision.
All right.
And I'm sure they want everything to be completely transparent. So I'm not saying that. I know they want everything to be perfectly clear, but the way this has so many funding sources and it's gone back for years and years, it's just really difficult to go back and say, this invoice is paid 7% from TIF and 30% from this and that, when in the end, it's just, this is what everything totaled out to, and this is the money that came in, and this is how it got spent.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Okay. Then I guess,
Go ahead and meeting adjourned.
go for it.
When's the next meeting?
I'll tell you. May 16th. That might be a public hearing, I don't know. We still need to talk about if there's going to be a price increase.
Will there be an agenda on that?
Excuse me?
Will there be an agenda on the website?
Yes,
Okay.
there will be.
Or you'll post also whether it's public or private?
Yep, yep. And then we'll go from there, because if Winslow's upping their prices again, we're behind the 8 ball now. Thank you.
I know we're not their priority because Winslow has their own priorities, but I'm just hoping someone takes mercy.
Yeah.